He's an icon, the literal voice of patriotism and American pride, and now he's partnering with former president and hopefully future president Donald Trump to combine two conservative favorites, love of God and love of country, with the beautiful God Bless the USA Bible. I have one here that I'm not going to steal from my guest, although I want to. Lee Greenwood joins me now, and this one is signed by Donald Trump. I would love one that's signed by you and Donald Trump, but it's a beautiful Bible. Now, people are really upset about this Bible. It's really controversial. A lot of hit pieces written about you and Donald Trump partnering on a Bible. What's your response to that?
Well, let's just start with Trump haters, first of all. And I said this the other day, and I believe it's probably true, that a lot of the people on the left are Christians, but they're not putting their Christian faith first. They're putting Donald Trump hate first. So as we explained before, those documents in the back of the Bible I think are extremely important to pay attention to. And that's the perseverance, the presence of our Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and also has the Pledge of Allegiance, which came later in our history. But those documents I think are important to anybody who wants to have a conversation about faith, because I still think we're a faithful nation. Mm-hmm. I think we are still one nation under God. And you got to remember, every president, including Donald Trump, put his hand on the Bible to defend the United States, the Constitution, and everything that stands for the red, white, and blue when he became president. That means the Bible has got to be important. You go to a court, and in the court proceedings, you have to put your hand on the Bible, say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Are we still a Christian nation because we use the Bible in the court system? Initiating the president to take office? I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. It's crazy. I think you're right. It's just the Trump derangement syndrome. But SNL even did a bit about it. I don't know if you saw it or not, but
I did.
A bit about the Bible. Of course, they just pinned it on Donald Trump. They didn't mention your involvement in it, but they poked fun at it. And you know what? It's okay for comedy to poke fun at things, but this is really more about hating Donald Trump more so than it is the Bible. But some of the criticism is, he's got to pay for his legal fees, so he teamed up with you to hawk Bibles to people to raise money. It's overpriced, blah, blah, blah. First of all, it's a beautiful book. Why anybody wouldn't want to have it, I don't know, especially if you're a Christian and you love your country. But what do you make about the criticism of, this is just a grift for Donald Trump and he's exploiting the Bible and he's exploiting you to raise money?
Well, I'm red and white and blue. And of course, my song, God Bless the USA, has stood for 4 decades now to uplift America in any crisis. Yes, the president uses his for his entrance song when he takes the stage at his rallies, but I've sang for 10 different presidents who have all honored me for writing the song. Okay, so if we talk about this particular piece of merchandise, with the frivolous suits against Donald Trump, was only aimed at weakening his chance of becoming president because financial weakening, he's allowed to make money any way he wants to. He sells a tennis shoe. Yes, he's promoting the Bible as well, and I'm all about that. I'm glad that he's putting his best foot forward about showing he's a Christian and asking the nation to pray for him and pray for our country.
Right, and also involving some of our founding documents that have been largely shelved, maybe with this administration. But you have to tell me how this came about. How did you and Donald Trump say, we're going to partner on a beautiful Bible that combines not only the Word of God, but also some of our founding documents and what it means to be a patriotic American? How did this happen?
It just happened kind of automatically. First of all, we've promoted this Bible for over 3 years. And although our sales have been well received, and I get many letters and emails about people so thankful that we produced the particular Bible. By the way, it's much cheaper than any Bible you will find in a store. Right. Go to a bookstore and see what the prices are. This is around $60. The one there, at least $110, $120 with a leather cover, just like that. Okay, well, not just like that, because that's got stars and stripes on it. Yes. And it is the Holy Bible, of course, the King James Version, from beginning to end. And then we put our documents in the rear of the Bible. So I don't know, you know how President Trump loves God Bless the USA.
Right.
I sing it for him a lot. I've introduced him many times on stage. I think when I sent him my signed copy of the Bible, which I will send to you as well, I'll see if I can get Trump to sign that as well. He texted me back and basically said, I think everybody should have one of these. I'm going to make a video and make sure that we sell as many as we can.
Right.
That's simple. So as far as partnering, I'm glad to stand with him. Our deal was special with the Bible company, and his is separate of mine.
Right. Well, it's just great, though, to see him standing there and speaking about his love of country, his love of God. So I have to pivot to our current president, and I have to get your take on this, because this all kind of came together. The criticism of the Bible with Donald Trump advertising it went along with Easter Sunday, which I don't know if you're aware or not, but that is also apparently Trans Visibility Day. The current president made a big point of proclaiming that to be Trans Visibility Day. They've been pushed back from the White House saying, oh, it just happened to fall on the same day. But what was your take on that? Do you think that that was a bridge too far to have that proclamation when so many Christians are celebrating one of the most important days in the faith?
Totally insensitive. I mean, it's almost an insult to a Christian to do that.
It's fully an insult to many
I'm not
Christians.
saying that transgenders are not Christians. They might be, but the case for me is that to do it on Easter Sunday is just insulting.
Right. Well, it just didn't need to be done, and it didn't need to be the proclamation, and it didn't need to be so much fanfare around it. I mean, just like Christians have their day, my goodness.
Yeah.
Of all the persecution, and in Donald Trump's case, prosecution, you'd think just give us Easter Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a little space here.
Okay.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
As long as I have you, I do want to talk to you about, we talked about this last time, but things are changing and evolving, and even since the last time I talked to you, changing and evolving even more than that. I want to talk to you about our country and how Americans feel about their country. You're somebody that's really, in my belief, the poster person for patriotism and synonymous with patriotism. But there are a lot of people in this country, especially young people, who don't feel that way, or maybe have changed their view and their perception on their love of country and what America means to them. And I'm wondering what you think we can do, especially as it concerns young people, to bring back patriotism, make it cool again, if you will.
Yeah, that's interesting. We have two young sons that are 25 and 28. They're both aggressively pursuing their careers. Parker, our younger boy, is at University of Miami getting a master's in music. Dalton, our older son, just got his dream job in Chicago in biotech financing.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know that either one of them has, we don't discuss politics very much. And I think when I was younger, I probably was somewhat liberal in my approach to life. And I don't want to spoil their initiative in going after economy and finding out where they're going to fit in this world and in the United States particularly. But as they get a little bit older, we've had some conversation about maturity and about fake news and about what's coming to them so fast. They're the ones that taught me about internet and what the world can offer you and find information quickly. And so now I'm kind of teaching them, you need to find the real news and find out what's out there. Don't spit out the same liberal stuff that you've seen on Facebook or any of the sites, the platforms that you look at. Just make sure that you're getting the correct news. And so they've come around to do that. And we've had we have conversations about, so I have young adults in my family who are actually becoming, I think, more in tune with the nation and patriotism. And let me tell you, neither one of us served in the military. Only my father, my wife's father. Mine served Navy, her father served Army. And Kim and I are totally aware that the sacrifice for the military is where you need to start when you're talking about patriotism. And while we're on the subject, to tell you the truth, I've had a lot of people who condemn Donald Trump for anything in business and finance and frivolous suits about some woman that claimed he did something wrong. The thing for me that's really difficult to get over is, first of all, the immigration policy of the current administration and letting millions of people in, and you know what it's for. It's so they can get undocumented people to vote without an ID. The second thing was when he had the Marines killed about pulling out of Afghanistan. That is unforgivable. To me, that's treason. How in the world can you dictate to your generals, just turn your back and run? And that's how those Marines got killed by a suicide bomber. That is unforgivable for me.
Right. It was, for a lot of Americans, a real turning point in this administration. I'd like to think that President Biden loves his country. I'd like to think that he's got patriotism in his heart, but the things that he's doing or being instructed to do to our country, for some people, like myself, would indicate otherwise. But I'm wondering, from your perspective, we've got a big election coming up. I think you and I both want it to go a certain way. A lot of our fellow Americans maybe want it to go another way. After that happens and we have a winner, there's going to be half the country mad either way.
Absolutely.
What would your message be to those Americans who are going to be upset one way or the other about loving their country, even in the aftermath of so much division, and what is going to be a very controversial, contentious election season?
The first thing we need to do is make sure we have an honest election. In our last one, we had 5 different states who actually had such controversy. It were not alike. All 5 of them had some other agenda to stop Donald Trump from winning the election. That's first. The second of all, whoever wins the election, you're right. There's going to be half the nation that said no, because we are somewhat divided down the middle. Same as Congress. You know, they have their own troubles in how to make bipartisan votes happen. But I think if we just look at the real record this time, and I really agree with Donald Trump and what he said about he doesn't want to bully the president. He wants to present the facts. The facts are anything the administration has done wrong this time, which will allow Donald Trump to be president again and fix the country. I think everybody suddenly, if they realize when Donald Trump becomes president and it fixes the border and we fix those issues that have been internationally addressed poorly by our administration, they'll come around to saying, you know what, I think we made the right choice putting Trump as president again.
When you have your conversations with Donald Trump, with everything that he's going through, he seemingly still not only looks like a fighter, but he looks better than ever, sharper than ever. He's resilient. He seems joyful. And that's really hard to be given everything that he's going through. I mean, the man has to be in court. He has to be campaigning. He has to be dealing with anything and everything. Also thinking about how, if elected, he's going to fix our country. What's his demeanor like when he talks to you? Is he the same guy that we see at his rallies, the same guy that we see on his social media?
He has bounced back, and I'm sure when the rallies step up before we get to the election, and they will. Of course, we know about the Truth Social getting on the NASDAQ. That's going to improve his financial position. That'll certainly make his head a little bit more positive. Every time I talk to him, he's the same way, though. He's like, Lee, how are you? Great to see you. Let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. Let's talk about the future of the nation and so forth. And he's very positive about his family. I get him a lot of credit. He's got a wonderful family.
He does. And he loves his country. And, you know,
he is a patriot.
He's a patriot, and you can say a lot of things about Donald Trump, but I don't think anybody could say that he doesn't love his country. Where can everybody go? I'm sure they don't have any questions, but where can everybody go to get their copy of this beautiful, beautiful Bible? Not signed by Donald Trump, but still very important nonetheless.
It says on the front, God bless the USA, Holy Bible. And that would be it. God bless the USA, holybible.com. Or you can go to my website, leegreenwood.com, and click on the tab for the Holy Bible.
What are some other things? You mentioned the documents, but there are other special things in here that not every Bible has.
Well, no Bible has these documents, which of course is the Constitution, which you can read. And I don't know if you've been to Washington, D.C. and seen the Constitution under glass, written in the old hand script that they used to write in the early days of America. The Constitution, of course, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and I included the Pledge of Allegiance and was asked by the publisher if I would write the chorus in my own hand and sign it for God Bless the USA. It is in the Bible as well.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. We always appreciate your patriotism, really the voice of patriotism. So I'm honored to have you. And this is a beautiful Bible. I at least want one with your signature on it, because to me,
you will have it.
That's worth a lot in its own right. Thank you so much, Mr. Greenwood, for being here and for always being such a positive voice for our country. You are an icon and a legend, and I'm so happy to have you here in Nashville with me. Thank you so much. That does it for our special edition, of course, with the one and only Lee Greenwood with his beautiful Bible. Make sure you go check it out. God bless you from Nashville. God bless and take care.